Hey, go for it. Go for it.
It's 8 o'clock.
Seriously.
Good evening, everybody. This is a regular meeting of the Board of Education for the School District of the City of Harper Woods. Today's date is November 18, 2014. The time is 7 o'clock, on time, finally. And I'd like to call the meeting to order, and if everybody could please stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Learned anything in grade school, that was it. Okay, all members are here except for Regina. I'm not sure if she's going to be making it or not. I haven't heard from her, but we will carry on. We have an agenda, an original agenda. Do we have a motion to accept that agenda?
Motion?
Do we have support?
Support.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of accepting the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. The agenda is accepted 6-0. First item on that is the consent agenda, which includes the following matters. Minutes from a special meeting of October 21, a regular meeting of October 21, a workshop meeting of November 11, the expenditure reports for the month of October, approval for overnight extended travel for Joy Danforth and Sherilyn Nagy to the Student Leadership Advisor Workshop, and for Shannon Rogers to attend the Michigan Music Conference. Personnel matters include recommendations for Mr. Francis Brooks and for Ms. Phyllis Green. Resignations from Leah Edison, the varsity cheerleader coach, Michael Jones, an academic instructor at ATS, and Tiffany King, the JV girls basketball coach at the high school. And new hires would be Martell Summers, JV basketball coach for the high school. Is that boys or girls?
That one is boys.
Okay. It's not to replace the one that's resigning.
No, it's below.
Rich Plekowski, an academic instructor at ATS, and Dennis Gore, oh, here it is, JV girls basketball coach at the high school. Does any member wish to have any matters removed from the consent agenda? Hearing none. All in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Consent agenda is approved, 6-0. That brings us to correspondence. Mr. Keene, have we received any correspondence?
We have, and the correspondence has been forwarded.
Thank you. That brings us to 7.0, which is a staff and student spotlight. And at this time, we want to recognize our girls varsity volleyball team. You're going to lead us through this, Mr. Beaterwolf?
I will get us started, if
Get us
that's
started?
okay.
That's fine.
In partnership with Principal Collier, it is exciting to have some of our lady pioneers here this evening. We've seen tremendous growth in our women's volleyball program over the last couple of years. We've seen increased participation. We had a successful season this year that Coach Martin and I'm sure some of her student leaders will tell us more about. And I believe that our student athletes, as we would expect all student athletes in the district to be, are academically in good standing as well. So that being said, Ms. Martin, please tell us a little bit more about your team, about your Lady Pioneers, and about your season.
I'm Coach Martin. It was a great year. This is my third year coaching volleyball in the district, second year coaching varsity volleyball, and I've never been more proud of a group of young women. And each individual I know has made tremendous, each woman has made tremendous growth throughout the season, especially versus last year, just from this year, just tremendous growth. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what each one has, all the potential they have for the future. So, really exciting. Our captains, well, we have Coach White, and then each individual will just say a sentence or two about themselves.
Good evening, guys. Thank you so much for inviting us this evening. All the girls and I, we were very excited. We got a great season. We worked really, really hard. And the power that they got from this experience is like they changed their attitude and the behavior follow the attitude. And that's, we became a great group. We help each other. And the most important, we got fun. We will start with the captain.
Well, hi, I'm Michael White. I'm number 9 for volleyball. And I've been playing volleyball for, well, all 4 years.
Should we have them
And
come to the podium?
My last year, I was second. This year,
Yeah.
That way they'll get on the camera. Why don't you, ladies, why don't you line up?
Start again.
Yeah, start over.
Please, we
Because
apologize.
now you'll be on, now you're gonna-
airtight, Mike. Seriously.
okay, well, I'm Michael White. I'm number 9, and I'm the captain. Well, and,
Is that what you call her? Is that what you call her while you're playing?
Like I said, 4 years, and I would say that my last year was my best year because I feel like we really made a sisterhood. And I really want to thank Ms. Mike and Coach White. That's good. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain.
My name is Takayla Jennings. I'm co-captain. I played volleyball for 3 years now, and I started setting this year for my first year. But I just wanted to thank my team because they helped me improve, and so did my coaches.
Why don't you, ladies, why don't you tell us what year you are? Are you junior?
Yeah, I'm a junior.
You're a junior? How about
I'm
you?
a senior.
Senior. I want to know how many of you will be back for next season.
I'm a little short.
You do play volleyball, right?
My name is Rachel Minner. I'm number 2. Well, I was number 2. My position was a setter. I'm in 11th grade. I love everybody here. I'm going to play next year.
Yay! My name is Raven Weaver. I'm number 18, and my positions are hitter, blocker, and server. And you know, these are all my sisters, and I love them all. And you'll see me again next year.
All right.
My name is Karaya Hill. This is my first year of volleyball. I'm a sophomore, and I had a great experience.
Thank you.
My voice is kind of messed up, so. I'm Michaela Pye. I was number 6, and I really enjoyed this year. I love all you guys, and I had a lot of fun.
Will you be back?
Yes.
My name is Shanice Blair. I'm a junior. My position was hitter and blocker, and I worked my hardest this year, and I will be back next year.
All right.
Almost everybody's going to be back.
My name is Zion Parker. I was number 22, and this is my first year playing high school volleyball. It was really fun. I'll be back next year.
Okay.
My name is Shania Clark. I was number 19. I'm a sophomore, so I'll be back. And it was my first year. I tried something new, and I liked it.
Very good.
Congratulations.
My name is Tiara Beatty. I was number 17, and this is my first year playing, and I really liked it.
Hi, my name is Jada Knight, and my position was libero, and my number is 13.
Will you be back?
Yes, and I'm a 10th grade.
10th grader, nice.
Hello, I'm Tavia Williams. I've been playing volleyball since the 7th grade, and I'm a 10th grader now, and I'll be back next year.
Wow, so only
Coming
one
back.
senior.
Good job. Way to go, guys.
So, Coach Martin, just for clarification, my understanding is that as the team entered into the state playoff, they won their opening match, they won their second round match, they advanced to the district championship. They did fall a little bit short in that particular match, but made a nice little run, if you will, in the state tournament. And given the number of our student athletes who will be returning next year, I think maybe we can take maybe a couple of additional steps. So be hungry first for grades, and there's nothing wrong with being hungry for a little bit of success in athletic competitions as well. I heard great things about your season. On behalf of the board or in partnership with the board, congratulations.
Good job, girls.
I just want to add one thing. A week or so ago, my wife, she's on Facebook, oh, here it is, for a group of Harper Woods residents. And there was a posting on that she brought to my attention, and it reads, "I just received a very nice compliment from a South Lake mom," and she said, quote, "I just wanted to tell you how well-behaved the Harper Woods volleyball kids and the Chandler Park Academy kids were when they were waiting to play at our school. So if anybody would like to relay this back to them, I'm sure they would appreciate it. How nice it was to hear a positive about the kids. Good work!" Exclamation point. So congratulations for that as well. Okay. One other spotlight that's not on our agenda, I just wanted to point out, we've got 3 trustees-elect from the November 4th election. Their terms will begin January 1st of this year. They're all here in attendance. They were at our last meeting as well. We invite members that are going to be serving to attend so they get a feel for participating in the meeting. They can't vote, but they can certainly participate, and their comments are welcome. We have Kelly Morrison. We have Colleen, what'd you do it? Angela, I couldn't remember your first name, Angela.
And I'm Colleen Keaveney.
For Colleen, what's the?
It's Keaveney.
Keaveney. Okay. And we still need to meet. Okay, and welcome. Next, we move on to 8.0, which are district activities. We begin with Ms. Gottlieben, who's going to bring us up to date on Beacon.
Good evening.
Oh,
Just 1 minute, Ms. Gottlieb, and I know our student athletes have other things that they need to get accomplished this evening. All understood. Thank you so much, ladies. Congratulations again.
Good evening. Let's hope this temperature is not a predictor. It is cold outside, and our babies are freezing. So if anyone's listening, we need a little bit warmer weather right now, because it's going to make this winter an awful long one. That being said, conferences were a great success. At this point, we have 86% attendance by parents, which is pretty good. I mean, it should be 100, but 86. We still have some phone conferences to be done, so probably about 87% attended. So lots of great comments. Parents took a parent survey while they were there. If you have not taken the survey, by November 25th, you will be eligible for Kroger card raffle. So please come in and take the survey. It only takes a few minutes. The comment part was overwhelmingly those that took the survey. We have about 66 in right now. And overwhelmingly that Beacon staff cares about kids. And the thing we could improve is parking lot, parking lot, parking lot. So I do ask parents to do their best to be patient. You know, we've got a great system of lining the children up safely and depositing them into your car safely, but it just takes a while. So, you know, it's about a 20 to 30 minute process. And I do really encourage parents to park on the other side, the side streets, on the other side of Beaconsfield, and come across with the crossing guards and pick your children up there. Or if you have an older child, they can certainly use the crossing guards to cross, and you can pick them up on the other side of Beaconsfield. Lots of space on the side streets for that as well. So thank you for your patience with the parking lot. I hear what you're saying in terms of ways to improve Beacon, and any suggestions would be well addressed by me. So thank you for that. Our first movie night is Friday, 5:15 to 7. It's going to be the Lego movie, so please bring your wear your pajamas, bring your blankets and pillows, and you need to be accompanied by an adult for this event. So please come on in to the Beacon Gym for movie night. DSO visited third grade. We had a cello, a trombone, and a clarinet. We thought we would have all grade levels visited, but only 3 of the members were able to attend. So the 3 musicians did go about their business with 3rd grade and showed them the instruments up close. It was really neat. I mean, these people are true professional musicians, and I think it really, hopefully it'll end well for when they're able to take an instrument at Tyrone. We also watched a webinar. Miss P will explain it a little bit better, and then there will be a culminating January concert. We also participated in the WCCC art contest. Miss Cawley, amazing art teacher of ours, and we do have some winners to be announced this week. Those winners will be invited to ride in the Grosse Pointe parade down, I believe it's Courchevel, the village area. So that's always an exciting event. Hopefully it'll be a little warmer. Sorry to go on the warming thing, but it's so cold right now. Please bundle up your children. We're trying our best to get them bundled up, but they need zippers that work and mittens and gloves and hats. And one more thing I want to ask parents is our early pickups. This is data time for Beacon, so we are gathering data and putting it on our wall. This is our first gathering moment, so we're going to really look and try to show that student achievement growth from now through June. And one of the things we track are attendance and tardies, and also early pickups. I had 683 early pickups this quarter. And I think some of it is the parking lot. If you come in 20 minutes early, you avoid the parking lot. However, one of our pushes at Beacon is teaching executive skills. Some of the best research talks about organization, time management, some of those really important culminating organizational skills. And that's what they're doing at the end of the day, gathering, getting their homework recorded, getting their folders, getting those last bits of information for at-home work. And when those children are pulled early, they lose the ability to practice that executive skill of organization and wrap up. So please, parents, do your best not to pick up early, because it really sets a bad tone for the classroom. It's disruptive, and your student doesn't have that closure, and that's that executive skill we're working so hard on. That's all I have. Any questions?
Yes, could you repeat what time the movie night is again?
5:15. Preview starts at 5:15, and we're done about 7 o'clock. And it's a free movie, but if you want to buy the snack pack, it will be $3.
Thank you. Okay, Mrs. P. And that's all you get from me.
I was going to say, and what's the rest of it? Yeah, I know. It's a crazy last name. We also had our conferences, same time Beacon did. I don't have the exact numbers. We still, believe it or not, we've got some teachers still meeting with parents, and we're still doing some phone conferences. It was our second time that we tried doing our conferences so that parents had to sign up for their time slot using the Teacher's Weebly page. One of our goals, for our annual goals, for our professional goals, is to, as a school, use parent emails a lot better than we have in the past. It is our belief, it's not a scientific study, but we struggle with phone numbers. They're often changing. We don't have current phone numbers, or voicemails aren't set up. But it seems that our parent emails are very consistent and are not changing from year to year. So we're really trying to hone in on communicating with parents through their email. And I know Mrs. Morris had Mrs. Dennis said she got the email saying going my Weebly page, sign up. She got reminder emails for her conference time. It really was an easy thing for us to do, and it allows parents then to pick their time slot that works best for them. Parents that never signed up, we did give them a time slot, and we sent it home on the old-fashioned piece of paper way. So we did, accommodate parents who either couldn't respond to the Weebly page or really weren't checking their email or something along that line. We also had it in the newsletter, and that if they needed help, they could come in. Our computer lab was open, and they could use that at any time. We are going to have our first celebration assembly next Wednesday for the end of the first card marking. This is where we recognize students who may have made honor roll, which just means they have all A's and B's on their report card. who may have received a character award, which has to do with our PBIS and not having their card changed for a limited time during the first card marking. We also give, now I'm drawing a blank, punctuality award for students who have had limited number of absences as well as tardies. And then there's another award, and I can't think of what we call of it. Academic Success Award, thank you, for students who may not have made honor roll, but who are working very hard and, you know, have all their homework in and really giving their best foot forward. So we will be recognizing those on Wednesday, next Wednesday at 10 o'clock. Parents are welcome to attend. Last week we did our DSO webinar. It was a little tricky for us because originally when I signed up at 1:45, and then that time slot got canceled. And the only time slot I had available was 10:45, and that's right smack dab in the middle of lunch. But we had to make it work. And we did make it work, so thank you to the staff and to the students because everybody did their job, and we got the last group out at 10:40, and everybody was sitting up in the room ready to watch the webinar for the DSO. It really is amazing. They gave a shout out to the Detroit area, and our kids, you could hear them, oh, you know. Really, it was a cool thing. It lasted about an hour. You know, again, it's just exposure to something with music that, you know, considering we only have band, we've lost, I mean, I remember, oh man, my third year of teaching, we still offered music at the time, an actual music program. And Tyrone does have a choir program, but it's nice that the kids are getting this exposure to this opportunity that came across our district. So we will have them visiting on December 1st, I believe it is, the same thing that Mrs. Gottlieb have. They're coming to our school. I don't know exactly how many are coming. It was my understanding that we're going to be pulling kids into the gym, but maybe I'm wrong after I heard Mrs. Gottlieb. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought they were bringing a quartet of string, and the kids were going to be coming in and being exposed to that. And then again, in January, the district will be having, the entire district, correct, will be in the auditorium watching the ESO live. We have a canned food drive going on right now for this week for Student Council. You know, Mrs. Ritzloff, Mrs. Rogers, and Ms. DeAugustin are trying to come up with ways that our Student Council can do a better job at being good citizens and encouraging that trait within our students. So we have a competition going among the classes for our canned food drive. And we have a local organization who we donate it to who tells us it goes back to local families. So that's a good thing. I'm trying to think, where else was I? November 4th was our PD day across the district, and Tyrone teachers really did spend a lot of time looking at Study Island. It's something that we have, but it's got more capabilities than we were using it. So we spent a lot of time looking at it, being in-service in it. We also did a Nearpod, which is something they can use on their iPads to help develop projects within the classroom. And the best thing I think we did for them was in the afternoon, letting them get together as a staff and as grade levels and saying, okay, now that we've been training this, how can we really use it? Lots of conversation in the afternoon, especially with Study Island, how we're going to use it, how it will help us get ready for the spring assessment, letting teachers set up their classrooms before they forgot what they were shown in the morning. And so that Monday morning, we were off and ready to start with a plan. So that was really good. And we have tons of after-school activities going on at Tyrone, so read the Tyrone newsletter because we've got a boys basketball group starting, we've got a girls basketball group going on, we've got tutoring going on, we've got open media center, we've got choir, we've got student council, we've got a green club. There's just a lot of hustle and bustle after school. So make sure, parents, you read those newsletters. We try not to have kids call home. We think it's part of their responsibility to take them home on Friday and make arrangements before the end of the day. So if your child comes home upset because we said, well, you can't call home to ask now if you can stay, that's probably true. We really do encourage these kids to make plans ahead of time. Any questions?
I have a question. For this assembly on Wednesday, where you're going to be recognizing kids, have their parents, are they being notified that their child or student will be recognized?
Teachers usually let the kids know whether they received the awards or not, yes.
But
I don't make the phone calls. At the end of the year I do for the big assembly, but They know if they made honor roll, that's already on the report card. And teachers during conferences let parents know if they were going to receive an academic success or, you know. The
Okay.
kids know which ones are getting character because it's a rubric and they know whether they
Well, the
qualify
kids
or
know,
not.
but the kids may not pass that along to the
I
parent.
put it in the newsletter, letting them know that this is when this is, and they're more than welcome to attend.
So the student names are listed in the newsletter?
No, that would be hundreds. I'm just saying, I put it in the newsletter that we have this celebration assembly for these awards, and parents are welcome to attend. I guess I would assume the parent would ask the child, you know, are you getting any of these awards? Or they know if they're getting honor roll. That one they know for sure, it's on the report card. And teachers did let kids who are getting academic success awards know whether they qualified for that or not.
Okay, I'm just thinking that some parents may be disappointed that they, for whatever reason, didn't know and find out after the fact and
We do
say,
it
I
every
wish I
card-
was there.
Right, we do it every card marking, and we recognize these 4 categories every card marking. And I can put it in the newsletter, these are the parameters, you know, it's 2 or less absences and 0 tardies for the card marking. And it's, I can't remember the exact number, I don't want to give the wrong number for, you know, haven't flipped your card less than 4 times, I believe, in the card marking. So I can list the parameters that allows them to qualify.
Okay.
And then parents can kind of decide whether they think their child makes it or not.
Anybody else have anything? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, we're going to hear about the middle school from, I believe, is this your debut?
No, I got to do it last time. I
Oh,
got
you
to do
did?
it twice.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So, almost becoming a seasoned veteran, but almost.
Mr. Felber.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you for having me. Middle school honor students led students in what we call Mix It Up Lunch, led by our 8th grade social studies teacher, Sheree Burns. The idea behind Mix It Up at Lunch is going ahead and having kids sit with kids that they don't normally sit with within their group. And so to start off lunch, we had the honor students sort of selected at different tables with colored placards so that they would know what it is. And as kids were coming in, they were going ahead and giving, you know, different color slips. Green would sit at a green table, blue would sit at a blue table, et cetera. And this was an opportunity for kids to go ahead and sit and get to know some of their classmates that they might not actually have an opportunity to go ahead and discuss with or things. And if conversation kind of ran dry, we had little question prompters for the kids to go ahead and use it, to go ahead and make sure that for the 28 minutes that we're at lunch, the kids could go ahead and, you know, really have some genuine conversations and get to know each other. It's an event that we've run a couple of times in the past. It's kind of a nice icebreaker to use at the beginning of the term so that kids can sort of get out and get to know one another and know who it is. We're a small school, but yet it's still, when you're talking about, you know, 110 kids in 8th grade or 90-some kids in 7th grade, any opportunity you can to get to know some of your classmates a little bit better is something that we really look forward to. We had well over 90% of our kids participate. There are a few kids that didn't want to, and we weren't going to force them. But 90% of our kids participated in the event, and you know, a lot of them have asked if we were going to do it again. So it's something that we thought was pretty successful and might look to do again in the future. Middle school welcomed a new addition. Mr. Murphy has kind of made the transition from the high school to the middle school, teaching 7th grade English. I'm sure he's going to put the old 7th grade English teacher to shame and his abilities and the things that he's bringing to the table.
What was that staff member's name?
I think it started with an F. Mr. Filber, I believe, was his name. Absolutely. Mr. Murphy, I've had the pleasure of working with Mr. Murphy within the technology committee, and some of the different tech things that he's bringing, you know, down to the middle school again is really pretty exciting. We just had a training last Wednesday with Mr. Williams, our technology instructor. And he brought up a couple of different things, and Mr. Murphy's already got it in his lesson plans, and he's already going ahead and using it. In fact, one of the things is kind of like our old clicker system that we used to have. It's actually called Plickers, and the kids hold up a piece of paper, and depending on how they hold it up, it looks like an A, B, or a C, and the teacher can go ahead and take their iPad and go like this and see exactly how, you know, the kids are answering and whether they're answering correctly, and it goes right in. So it's just kind of like the old clicker system, but it's a free app that we can use with our iPads. Really kind of dynamic and really indicative of what, you know, Mr. Murphy's bringing to, you know, to the middle school already, you know, a week and a half into the thing. So excited about that. We have a local community member, Jay Hill, who does an advocacy group in the high school. He's graciously agreed to go ahead and spill down into the middle school and do a little bit of work with our kids. He's teaching a leadership class, is what he terms it. 30 kids were originally assigned to the group, just sort of at random, pulling names and putting some kids in there with a little bit of teacher input. After hearing Jay Hill speak to us at an assembly on November 13th, I had a lineup of kids outside my door asking if they could go ahead and join in the Leadership Academy that he's kind of running as well. And so Jay's graciously agreed to bring in another 8 or 9 kids into the fold and work with them as well. Really a dynamic speaker, great message about, respect and working to go ahead and put aside some of the issues that we might be bringing from outside of the school and leaving it at the door, as we're all here for a common purpose of education and everything else like that. Kids got really excited when he proposed a competition between the males and the females of the school about who would have the highest GPA at the end of the year. A little bit of a party and games and everything else on the line. And so it's kind of my job to sort of be the tracker and keep the temperature of how things are going and keeping them excited. But the kids are already, talking about it. The girls are in the lead ever so slightly right now, but we're using that as motivation to go ahead and get the boys, to go ahead and bring the things up. And as was brought up in the elementary different reports, we got to go ahead and watch a DSO webcast as well. Again, really exciting to be able to sort of see the things and know that they're going to be coming to us. They'll be coming to see us in the middle school on December 1st as well. And it is my understanding that there will be a concert, a 50-minute sort of performance, or at least a how-to, if you will, that the middle school is going to get before they head on over to Tyrone as well. So kind of excited about that. And then I know our National Honor Society is doing a clothing drive for the season, helping out the people with the wonderful cold weather. I saw a couple of kids carrying in some big giant garbage bags full of clothes, and it's always good to see our kids thinking about that community service aspect of what we can do to make our community of Harper Woods a better place. So proud of what they're doing there and all the work that's going on there. So, any questions?
Yes, Mr. Filbert, I had a question about the Leadership Academy, because that
Yes.
sounded like a really good idea. Is this something that they're doing after school, or how are the students meeting?
Jay has agreed to come in every other Wednesday, so he's going to be in on the second and the fourth Wednesday of the month to go ahead and talk to them for an hour a day. But he gives them homework. They have workbooks. They have different things, tasks that he wants them to do. They've only gotten to meet once. But so far, it seems to make them. It's already seeming to make an impact, and it's something that I'm pretty excited about. So, yeah.
If the kids are excited about it, have we talked to him about trying to find a way to get it to more kids?
There has been some discussion again, and it just happened last week, but there has been some discussion about perhaps bringing in, some other people from within his organization. I don't know whether or not Jay could do it all himself. I mean, we're already talking about close to 40 kids, but he's brought up the idea of, or the possibility of bringing in some people from his organization to go ahead and do some things with them as well. So some preliminary discussions in that aspect of, we don't want to turn kids away. If the kids are excited about it and they want to do it, then by all means we want to have it out there for them. So.
With your mixed up project you did during lunch, do you ever think about maybe doing it maybe once a month, a study waiting to like maybe during the school year? In other words, to keep the kids more focused and active with each other, a study, yeah.
Again, it could be something that we could expand to do more often. It's, it would be something that I would probably want to talk a little bit more to some of the kids, especially the kids that were the facilitators at the table, to see how they thought it went. But if that was something, then yeah, it really is just a matter of making sure that we have the cards ready to go ahead and hand to them as they're going into lunch. So absolutely something we could do more.
Was the room noticeably quieter that day?
It's hard to tell. I mean,
That's a good question.
You get
that
some.
would be a good gauge of how,
You get some good reverberation off those walls,
Right.
so sometimes after a while your hearing tends to dull a little bit, but hard to remember, to be honest with you, how much quieter it really was.
Mr. Filbert, this may date me, but mixing it up,
Yeah.
that at one time, and maybe still is, was kind of code language for a fight.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just, I'm just cautioning you there.
Yeah, I could see how that might be a little bit of a misnomer, if you will. Yeah, we're definitely not encouraging them to mix it up in that respect, but mix it up as far as who they're hanging out with, so.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
All right, and now to bring us up to date on the high school, Ms. Collier?
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
Gentlemen. I will start with a follow-up to our excellent volleyball team. They left, but it was our intention to acknowledge the fact that they are not only wonderful athletes, but we have a group of excellent scholars. Their grade point averages range from a 2.9, which is the lowest, to a 4.2, which is the highest. So we have a 3.7, a 3.2, a 3.6, a 3.9, a 3.6, our 2 point, and then 3.1, 3.2, 4.1, and 4.2.
Hey.
So we have an excellent group of scholars as well as athletes on our volleyball team. In line with our sports, the boys varsity team brought their season to a close last month as well with a high scoring game of 38 points. Although they were not the winners, they remained highly energetic, and the coach from the other team did speak to the leadership of the boys. Some of the students kind of had some taunting going on, but they didn't fall subject to it. They kept their heads up and stayed in the game. So they are to be noted for that as well. Mr. Beater Wolf stole my thunder on the volleyball team, so I will move on. The good thing or the drawback to being last is if it's a district-wide initiative, it's already been said. So DSO, the high school also watched the DSO webinar. The high school also will have the visitation from the DSO on December 1st. December 1st, we will also do for the first time acknowledgement of World's AIDS Day. And so the students will, for a $2 dress down fee, be allowed to wear red shirts, and they will have activities which will be headed by Mr. Guilford from C2 Pipeline and Ms. Beeman. So that'll be the first time that that initiative has taken place on campus. So we look forward to hearing some good dialogue from the students and making sure that they're duly informed about the AIDS epidemic. As college night or college week. So we completed our successful college week. The culminating event was college night, which was well attended and well received. We had 52 colleges and post-secondary institutions, 58 parents, 394 students were in attendance. Ms. Thrasher had a very well-planned event for post-secondary staff and representatives. So there was dinner served as well. Nothing but rave reviews from the college night. A lot of the college recruiters spoke to how well prepared our students were, the types of questions, the level of engagement that they had. So they were ready to ask the necessary questions to make their college selections. In line with the college week, we have 8 students who were accepted to Grand Valley State University on site. And then we have 20 seniors total thus far who have been accepted to a variety of other colleges and universities. So we are well on our way with regards to their college acceptance. We don't yet have totals coming in for scholarships, but we are excited and even challenging the students to beat the grand total of the students who received scholarships last year. So now they're all scrambling. The kids are coming in the office. Ms. Collier, do you know? So that's good. I had 3 young ladies today actually bring applications to be certified. So they are well on their way and very focused on their college admission process. Semester report cards went out. We did also complete our parent conferences. We had 194 parents attend. where they were also met by some of our partners, C2 Pipeline and Geared Up, to offer insight on some of our after-school programs. Parents were encouraged to get their students to enroll in the after-school programs, especially for those where parents were concerned about the grades that the students received. So we did have a lot of parents sign their students up. And recently, in recent days, we've been able to see a change in how many students are lagging after school, because so many of them, you know, I see, your mother told you to go, and so they're like, I'm leaving. So that's been effective. We had the distinct pleasure of the playwright Arthur Cartwright come to meet with our students. They went to go see the play Beat the Streets, and so he came and spoke with them before they went to view the play on Friday. We had 9th, 10th, and some 11th graders attend. Well received, very good comments about their behavior in the community. The bus driver even came in and told me that she would gladly transport our children anywhere that we needed them to go, in comparison to other schools that they've had to transport. So our students were well behaved in the community. A lot of them did enjoy the play. There was good dialogue and follow through when they returned. So definitely they are growing in their maturity when they are going out in the community. So they should be noted for that. And then lastly, we've had a number of student groups go out to leadership conferences. The Link Crew Leadership, which is our 11th to 12th graders, had a conference that they attended under Ms. Gaddis's supervision, and then Ms. Thrasher took the National Honor Society to their annual school leadership conference. Both groups of students came back with pros and cons with regards to how their level of preparedness, things that they saw other student leadership groups doing. So they were in dialogue with some of the other young people and definitely getting ideas for ways to improve their program. So last, we have a bullying assembly coming up Thursday. We did send home bullying information to parents who attended parent-teacher conference. So if there are families that did not get that information, Ms. Taylor does still have it at the front desk, as we've had a few instances where students have come and advocated for themselves or their peers if they were concerned about interactions. And so we are going to revisit our bullying policy expectations, as well as informing the students what to do if they feel that they themselves or peers are being bullied. And then for the holiday season, we took names from teachers and staff for Ms. Zan to give 10 holiday baskets to families who are in need. So those families have been identified, will be contacted, and welcome to come pick up the baskets for the holiday season. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions?
Great.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that brings us to 9.0 on the agenda, which is public participation regarding action items. If any member of the public wishes to address the board on any action items, please step to the podium and identify yourselves. There will be an opportunity later in the meeting for comments in general, but this portion is restricted to action items only. All right, seeing no one, we will move ahead to those action items. First one is 10.1, which is concerning the second semester school of choice, and this is at page 69 of your packet. There's a recommended motion that the Board of Education elects not to adopt a 105 or 105C School of Choice program for the second semester of the 2014-2015 school year for the entire school district of the city of Harper Woods. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Do we have support?
Support.
Okay, Mr. Beardwolf, you want to give us a brief rundown on this?
Yeah, just a short remark, Mr. Selburn, if I could. I might characterize this motion or this recommendation that the board not participate in a school of choice program for the second semester of this school year as both an indicator of the health of the district and as also an indicator of the philosophy of the board. So an indicator of the health of the district through the lens that we do have some fiscal stability, and given that fiscal stability, while certainly enrollment is the lifeblood of the district, nevertheless, there's not a commanding need, if you will, for us to participate in such a program at this time. And then relative to what I perceive to be the philosophy of the Board of Education based upon your discussion in the workshop, recognition on your part that if we were to participate in such a program, we'd be introducing new students into some of our classroom environments who don't yet know the classroom routines. There could be some negative implications as a result of that, and the board expressed some concern relative to that and a desire to keep our class sizes at the current levels, which we believe to be appropriate. So, in summary, I might just kind of characterize this as a good news recommendation overall.
I think one factor, and it's a somewhat minor factor, but I'm not sure you mentioned, there is a small cost associated with offering the school of choice. We do have to advertise it, we have to pay for those ads, and it does take some time from our administrative staff.
Also,
from their other duties.
No question, additional factors that were considered.
Okay, and just so everybody understands, because there's reference here to 105 and 105C, 105 refers to within our intermediate school district. In other words, if we were to allow this under Section 105, it would only include children that reside within Wayne-Risa District. Otherwise, you could just say Wayne County. 105C are for contiguous counties or intermediate school districts which touch upon the Wayne-Risa. So any county that touches upon Wayne County would be included in 105C. That would include Macomb County, Oakland County, Washtenaw County, and Monroe County. I don't think there's any others. So that's what those two references are, in case anybody's wondering. Any other comments? Hearing none. All in favor of approving the, okay, it says resolution. Are we doing this as a resolution?
I believe it is a resolution,
Okay.
Mr. Selburn.
Mr. Keen?
Okay, we'll need a roll call vote. Mrs. Menino?
Yes.
Mrs. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Selber?
Yes.
Ms. Quaker?
Yes.
I vote yes. Mrs., I'm sorry, Regina?
Ms. Williams?
Jean?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, and Jean?
Yes.
Completely drew a blank on your last name. Apologize. Motion
Resolution-
passes- The resolution passes 7-0.
Thank you. Okay, that brings us to 10.2, which is the reading of a policy, first reading of a policy for adoption. And this is a graduation requirement policy. And it would, we've already got something like this in place, but this formalizes it a little bit more. And it's a requirement of a post-secondary continuing education / career plan. This is on page 71 of your packet, and there's also been provided to you the actual wording of the proposed policy. And I'll explain that in a moment. Do we have a motion? The recommended motion is that the Board of Education approves the first reading of bylaws and policies, and it looks like it's going to be numbered part of 5460.
That is the intent or our recommendation, yes.
Is it, do we already have a 5460?
We do, it's our graduation policy.
Okay, this will have to be worked into it, or maybe we should do 5460.1?
I defer to you, sir.
We can work that out later.
We
I
can.
think It's the language, I think, that's important. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Do we have support?
Support.
Okay. The language of the policy, which is before you, the first paragraph is actually what is already in effect for the district. It's just never been put into written form as it is here. And this is a requirement that all students who graduate from Harper Woods do one of three things. They need to apply and be accepted, and that's important, be accepted to one of three things: either an accredited institution of higher learning, such as a college or university, a certification training program or a vocational training program, such as an apprenticeship, or to apply and be accepted to a branch of the United States military. The additional language here, which I apologize, has never actually been discussed by the board formally or by the policy committee, but Mr. Biederwolf pointed out that there needs to be provision for exceptions, because there always are exceptions to everything. There may be students that, for some reason, have an alternative plan. This would allow for that, but it requires, under very strict circumstances, it requires approval from the child's parent, or parents or guardians, the principal, the high school principal, and the superintendent. Everybody has to sign off on those exceptions. The other exceptions are for special needs students who have IEPs that may say they're just not going to be able to meet that requirement, and they're not expected to. So those are the exceptions to the general policy, which the intent of the board is that almost all students would follow that policy. So I'll let anybody else discuss it, and then I'll add my comments.
We have, so currently, it's not in our policy at all.
It is not in our policy, but we,
Embed this entire thing in our policy?
that would be my thought.
Just trying to look up our policy to see how. this
It's on
is-
the next
this is
page.
currently what-
Look on the next page.
It's in your packet, Mr. Keen. It's on page
Yeah,
72.
I just think
So it hasn't been revised since 11?
It has not been.
It was revised in 11, but this plan has been effective since well before 11.
It has.
It predates my tenure. Certainly, the board made me well aware of it. I can't speak to how it never found its way into policy. It is an operational practice in the district. We've heard Principal Collier speak to it and so forth. It's clear to the administrative team that it has been the directive of the board, but whether or not it was ever adopted as policy with a first and second reading, frankly, I do not know. This is an effort to accomplish that.
And is it in our handbook?
I don't believe so. I don't believe it's
I've
cited
never
anywhere.
seen it documented, but certainly it has been clearly conveyed to me.
I understand that it's operational.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever been reduced to writing.
See, I want to say we took action.
We did, we
No,
did.
we found the
minutes?
meeting minutes where you guys took action. For whatever reason, it's never
Do you
gone any farther
happen
than.
do you happen to know the date of that?
Look it up.
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
We don't need it
Yeah.
for this, but I'm just curious.
We'll get it to you guys.
Other than that, no, I fully support it. I think we need to do this. I'm just surprised it never happened.
Anybody else? Everybody good with that additional language? Okay. I had, it would be my intention that the exceptions are clearly meant to be exceptions and not the general rule. The first paragraph is to be the general rule. I think that Mr. Biederwolf understands it. I think everybody pretty much understands that. I had, years ago, whenever that was, if Ms. Green gets us that date, I was surfing the internet. I don't even remember why, but I came across the Boston Public Schools had a graduation requirement similar to this, and I thought, that's not a bad idea. The idea is that every kid who walks across that stage and gets a diploma, when they get to the far side of the stage, they don't throw up their hands and say, now what do I do? And then goof off for the whole summer and even on into the fall, because they don't have any direction. This is to give every student some direction. It gives the parents also the opportunity to kind of light a little bit of a fire underneath their kid and say, remember, this is what you decided upon, so now it's time to put that into action. So it's something that we think is important to get our students out into the world and prepared to compete, and it also is helpful to the parents to kind of push their child into that same frame of thinking. So that's a little bit of how the board's been thinking on this.
Okay, I have a question. The wording for this, is this something that Neola needs to review before we add it to our policy?
I don't believe so. We've been doing this for years now. I did consult Mr. Biederwolf, and I kind of put this language together. And he feels that the later paragraphs, which carve out the exceptions, will be sufficient to allow the administrators and the counselors to work within the framework of the policy.
Yep, I do. Certainly, if it is the wish of the board, it could be reviewed by Neola, but certainly, I'm very clear on the fact that a local board of education has the right to establish local graduation requirements, and this would be an example of that.
Right, because I agree with that. I just want to make sure our wording is okay, before we...
I also could mention that there was an occasion, maybe, 3-4 years ago, state school superintendent Flanagan was here. I think it was when we had Teacher of the Year.
Could have been. That would predate my tenure.
And there was a presentation in the auditorium, and he was there, and I had a moment to speak with him. He and I spoke, and I mentioned this graduation requirement to him. He was kind of surprised, and his reaction to it was quite positive. Quite frankly, I would think that this was something that the entire state should adopt. I don't know of any other district in the state that has something like this. I think it would be great for the entire state.
I'm unaware of any other district as well, Mr. Selburn. I think it's a progressive policy that's in the best interest of our students and their future.
And we've had students who have been pushed into making an application. We have Wayne State comes here. I think we heard Grand Valley was here doing instant acceptances. Pardon? On-site, thank you. On-site, not instant, but on-site admissions. I know Wayne State does it. We've had students come to the board members, and actually thank them for pushing them into doing that. So I think it's a positive all the way around. Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed say nay. First reading of this policy, number to be, is approved. The next action item is 10.3, which is the Affordable Care Act. No, we're not. That's up to Congress. But it's found on page 74. We're just looking to try to address one small issue of that legislation. The recommended motion is that the Board of Education directs the administration to initiate the proposed practices of the Affordable Care Act, offering health care coverage to eligible non-affiliated staff effective January 2015. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Do we have support?
Support.
Okay. You want to give us an explanation, a unit ticket, Mr. Biederwolf?
I will, if that's okay.
That's fine.
So the board will recall that at the most recent November board workshop, we had frankly, an extensive conversation relative to the board's position on the current implementation of the Affordable Care Act. My compliments to the board. It was not a political discussion in any way. It was about a personnel policy and about the financial responsibility of the board under the law of the land, the Affordable Care Act. As part of that discussion, though, the board certainly clearly conveyed to the administration that it is their desire to bring support to that employee classification whom currently works more than 30 hours a week as defined in the law, but does not receive any health care benefit or any health care cost offset, if you will. Mr. Dennis and I have further investigated some of those questions. One of your most specific questions is that if, as a district, we offer a plan to that employee group, and by the way, for additional clarification, we have the right under the law to delay implementation until January of 2016 if that were the direction of the board. But one of your fundamental questions was, if the district offers a policy or offers coverage to this employee classification, would that preclude that employee group then from being eligible from the stipends and the tax credits and so forth that are available in what's commonly referred to as the marketplace? We've gotten clarification. The answer to that question is yes. Mr. Dennis and I know that was an important question for the board, and so our thinking is that given that information, the board may want to have more discussion about this question, and so our recommendation is that this motion be tabled at this time so the board can have further discussion with the anticipation that you would take formal action providing the direction the district is to proceed according to in December.
I'll make a motion to table the item.
Before we do that, I just want to get a little clarification from Mr. Biederwolf. Who would be affected by this? About how many individuals?
Approximately 20 employees who average 30 or more hours of employment, who are not currently offered health care via their employment with the district. These often would be individuals who would work in classroom capacities as paraprofessionals assisting our certified instructional staff with the delivery of educational programs.
So these are individuals who are not members of any of our bargaining groups?
I believe I would be accurate in saying that none of them are covered by collectively bargained agreements.
All right, so when the board was giving you some direction of what we were thinking, just so I'm clear, now we have found that what we thought was the direction we wanted to move toward, it looks like that might not be the best solution.
So my recollection is the board was having conversation about, do we implement the Affordable Care Act, which would certainly be a very appropriate directive on the board's behalf, or given that we do have the legal right to delay implementation for an additional calendar year, do we offer some additional support to those employees that would enable them to achieve health care at a reduced cost, but would not place them in a position to be ineligible for some of those subsidies and tax credits and so forth. And I, as one person, and consistent with this recommendation, I heard clear direction on behalf of the board that we want to offer some support to this employee classification, but I don't think that we answered fully all of the questions the board had to truly make an informed decision.
Okay, so you need more time to investigate.
I think we're at that point where our understanding is more solid, but in my opinion, the board hasn't had a chance to fully discuss given that additional information.
So now we need to hear from you, not tonight, but at our next workshop, what you've learned, and then we can reevaluate what direction we want to go in.
That is our recommendation.
All right, that sounds like a good plan to me. Mr. Keene, I think you were about to make a motion to
Make a
table.
motion to table the item. Support.
Okay. Any discussion on the motion to table?
You'll send us the information now.
I will.
Any discussion on the motion to table? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion to table, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. The matter is tabled 7-0. And that, oh, okay, I see. And that brings us now to 10.4, which is a titled Substitute Teachers Compensation, which begins on page 78. We have a recommended motion, and that is that the Board of Education approves the proposed substitute teaching staff implementation of, quote, premium subs, end quote, and the sub daily rate / cost of $88 per day. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Support?
Support.
Okay. Again, Mr. Biederwolf.
So first, I don't want this recommendation to be misunderstood. I am appreciative of the daily attendance rate that is seen among our professional certified staff. However, occasionally a staff member needs to be absent, and occasionally a staff member's classroom needs to be staffed by a substitute because he or she is engaged in professional development, as an example. And in those instances, as the economy improves, it becomes more difficult for the district to retain daily subs. And so I've interacted with our sub-providing company, if you will. The board has gotten a review of our compensation levels, compensation of other districts in the area, and there's a belief that we can kind of enter into a partnership and compensate at a somewhat increased level subs who are known to us, who are familiar with our kids, our schools, and our processes, and more regularly get those subs to select Harper Woods schools. And as a result of that, then our fill rate would be higher. And if our fill rate is higher, then as a result, we turn less to our HWEA members for that reason. And that represents then a cost savings, as well as we believe then that those fewer interruptions in an anticipated sub-coverage also result in our teachers being better prepared overall to move forward with their instruction later in the day. Put it all together, really this is just a little bit better, we believe, than cost neutral. We actually believe that we can pay our substitutes just a little bit more. And because of a reduction in internal staffings, then the dollars and cents work out that we believe that we would have realized a very modest savings. So, yep, I'll go there, Mr. Selburn. I think this sounds like a win-win.
Any questions or comments?
Currently, what are we paying our subs again?
$80 a day.
So, as I understand this, Mr. Beerwell, when we cannot get a sub through our sub vendor, we have to turn to our own internal staff, and they then come out of their preps.
Yes.
Okay, which is the time that they're allowed by way of contract to prepare to teach their classes.
Yes.
And correct homework, things like that. They may have a meeting scheduled during the prep with a parent, things like that.
Yep, and so it's a last-minute notification. Staff can't plan accordingly. And to me, the most important piece is if I've anticipated to have this planning period to be ready for classes that occur later in the day, and I'm not able to have that planning period, I think instruction can be negatively impacted.
Okay. Well, if I was a parent and I had an appointment with a teacher and suddenly it got canceled because of something like this, that I would be pretty unhappy.
As well, it doesn't represent good customer service. I think that's an important point. You should bring it out.
Okay. And it's a lot more expensive for us to use our own internal teachers in that fashion.
It's kind of the beauty of it. And frankly, because our teachers do want to be well prepared for all of their classes, they really, they don't, they do it, but they really don't see it as in the best interest of kids and instruction for them to lose that prep time.
Okay. So this will save us, we're hoping, we're anticipating, but we don't know for sure. It'll save us a small amount of money.
$3,000 or $4,000.
But the biggest benefit is it allows our teachers to retain, more of our teachers to retain their prep time.
Yep. And people can plan better their day.
What happens in the event that one of the premium, how do they refer to it?
A premium sub?
A premium sub is not available. Does it go to their general pool of subs?
It would go back out to their general pool of subs, but I don't want to suggest that this is going to be 100% successful, but I do think it will improve our daily fill rate.
And then when it goes to the rest of the pool of subs that aren't the premium subs, what is the daily rate for those?
Be increased by $3 to $83.
Okay. That's the only thing that makes me uncomfortable. It's the fact that these subs now have to make a commitment just to our district. I follow the benefit, I'm just wondering how it's going to work out. Hopefully, you're able to chart its success or its status, quickly. Find out if it needs to be tweaked.
We will be able to do
That
that.
premium thing makes me a little nervous.
We will definitely be able to do that, and again, this isn't, quote, my plan, it's a plan that has been recommended to us by our sub-providing entity, ASOP/PEGS. Teachers have been expressing to me that this is a concern and a challenge at the building level.
So if I understand this correctly, though, once these subs sign on as a premium sub for Harper Woods, they can no longer take any other assignments anywhere else.
That is how it's
Pretty much,
designed.
Yeah, that's making me, a little nervous on it, so. I'm hoping you keep a tight leash on it.
We can monitor and we can readjust if and as needed.
So, premium subs, do we have some control over that?
Yes.
So these are people, these are subs who have worked for us in the past, and we've liked the work they've done.
Yep.
We prefer them.
Principals and classroom teachers will be able to say to the district, this is a good sub.
And the kids know that.
They build familiarity with kids, they build familiarity with building processes and so forth. So based upon those experiences, they should be able to perform at a higher level as well.
So some teacher who, I'm sorry, a substitute teacher who says, oh, look, Harper Woods has now got this premium subcategory at a higher rate of pay, I'm going to sign on. But we don't even know this person. We've never had them in our district before. We can control that. We don't have to let anybody who wants it be that.
That is correct.
Okay.
And so, in essence, we've seen this person work with and interact with our students, and we believe that they are worth, if you will, this, this modest differentiation in compensation.
Okay. And I think there's a presumption that if they are coming forward and signing on for this, they too enjoy coming to Harper Woods and they want to be here.
Yep.
They like our kids, they like our system. Is this another win-win? Or is this the same win-win?
It's the same one.
I really like the concept. I follow where it goes. I'm just concerned that because these subs would no longer be eligible to sub anywhere else, that there may be substitute teachers that we really like, that we want to be here, that say, hey, I'm not gonna sign up for this because I don't want to be committed just to Harper Woods. Harper Woods doesn't have 5 days a week for me. I want 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Therein lies my concern. I get the increased pay and I get that we want to keep these people. So I'm just asking that, monitor it. If we need to tweak it, maybe we can come up with if they don't make a solid commitment to us, maybe we can still make a pay differential to make it attractive to them to come here when we have an opening, but still allow them to go somewhere else.
We can and we will monitor. And if it doesn't, address the problem, I agree with your point. There are some other options that we could perhaps put in place as well.
Anything else? Okay. All in favor of approving the implementation of premium subs at the daily rate of $88 a day, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion is approved, 7-0. That brings us to, I believe, our last action item, 10.5, which is a tuition resolution. This is on page 81, begins on page 81. The recommended motion is that the Board of Education approves the attached tuition resolution for the 2014-2015 school year. And the essence of this resolution is that it sets the tuition rate. If someone were to come here and want to attend, the tuition rate for grades K through 6 would be $13,094.41, and the tuition for grades 7 through 12 would be $13,552.72. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Do we have support?
Support.
Okay. This is something that is statutory. Correct, Mr. Biederwolf?
I would defer to Mr. Dennis.
It is.
Okay. And the computation of those dollar amounts that I read off is as prescribed by the statute?
That would be correct. It's based on the previous year's audited general fund expenditures, as well as the annual full-time equivalent students based on the August 2014, the previous year's, or the current year August financial aid status report. And then there's the formula, as you guys can see on page 83, and we discussed at the workshop.
So I guess another way of putting this is that the state, through their formula that they've given us in the state law, puts the value of our education that we provide for K through 6 at almost $13,100 per year. And for grades 7 through 12, it's a little bit more, $13,550 plus per student per year. Fair way of stating it?
Correct.
Okay. It's a lot of value for free. Any other discussion? Any comments? It is a resolution, Mr. Keene.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
I vote yes. Ms. Quaker?
Yes.
Ms. Mahoney?
Yes.
Ms. Benino?
Yes.
Mr. Selvin?
Yes.
Resolution carries 7-0.
Okay. All right. Next are board items and subcommittee reports. If any chairperson of any committee wants to, has anything to bring us up to date on, please speak. I'm not sure if has it been since the last meeting that the policy committee met, or did we already do that?
I'm not certain, Mr. Selburn.
But we have some, we finished, I believe, 2 sets of updates.
We did?
You did.
And they just are in the process of being submitted to Neola. Neola has to process them. It's a little bit of a complicated process. And then we get them back, and at that point, we're in a position to do a first reading and then a subsequent second reading. So that's where that stands.
Yes, the committee has met, and it's a matter of, doing the updating work to make the submission and so forth.
Okay, so the committee is up to date.
The committee is up to date.
Okay. Any other committee chairs? All right, hearing none. That would bring us to 12.0, the report of the superintendent. Mr. Biederwolf.
So as our building principals did, I'd like to express my appreciation to our parents who have participated in our recent parent-teacher conferences. We heard multiple of our administrators express to high participation rates and valuable conferences occurring between and among our teachers and our parents. So again, just appreciation, parents, for seeing the value and the importance of your participation in that opportunity. It was also exciting to see many of our parents on campus as the secondary schools hosted our, I believe now, 4th annual college fair. Literally hundreds of our kids there, including some of our middle school students, and a lot of our parents participating in that opportunity, learning more about the college admission process, financial aid opportunities, and so forth. Certainly from what I saw, I would echo Principal Collier's remarks. Very successful evening and a very important opportunity for our students and their families. As well, a month ago this time, part of my remarks focused on the upcoming election at that time and my encouragement that the Harper Woods community participate in the democratic process. And certainly in our state and across the nation, while overall voter participation was far less than ideal, I did look at that data because I was interested in it, and what I found that is 40% of the registered voters in the state of Michigan participated in that election opportunity, but here in Harper Woods, 44% of registered voters participated in that important election opportunity, and it would therefore be statistically valid to say that 10% more of elected voters in Harper Woods participated in the recent election than did across the state. And so, you know what? I think that's pretty significant, and kind of a shout out, if you will, to our Harper Woods registered voters for participating in that important right that's assigned to them in a democratic nation. Additionally, in part, as an outcome of that election process, as others have as well, I'd like to express my congratulations to board members-elect who will take office January 1st, 2015, of Miss Angela Fedderson, Miss Colleen Kevaney, and Kelly Morrison. And so also just appreciation and respect to the current Board of Education in the transitional process that you've identified and have already initiated, and Mr. Selburn spoke to that in some of his earlier remarks. Meanwhile, the current board remains fully engaged and very busy. As Mr. Selburn just indicated, the policy committee just recently met. They got that process up to date, so there isn't any carryover or any housekeeping that the Board of Education, as of January 1, needs to assume responsibility for. That responsibility has already been met by the current board. As well, a reminder that the board will meet on on Thursday of this week, that's November 20th, for discussion relative to the mission and the vision. The board has retained a consultant from the Michigan Association of School Boards to help facilitate that process. It's an open meeting, and it will begin promptly at 6 o'clock. And then finally, while we celebrate the emergence of some new board members-elect, at the same time, we have gratitude to the current Board of Education and 3 current board members whose terms will conclude very likely as of the board meeting on December 16th. And so I want to invite the Harper Woods community, in particular, if you've had experience with Board Member Hall, who's been on the board for several months, and/or Board Members Keene or Selburn, who have been on the board for several years. It's an opportunity for you as district staff will to express your appreciation and to celebrate their service, and that will occur during the regular meeting held here in this room on December 16th, beginning at 7 o'clock p.m.
Thank you, Mr. Biederwolf. Okay, that brings us to item 13.0, which is public participation. If any member of the public wishes to address the Board of Education, please step to the podium and identify yourself. Seeing none, we will move on to 14.0, which is matters of interest to board members. Do any board members wish to bring anything up?
I have a couple of things. The library would like to invite everybody. They're showing movies now. And the movie on December 12th, which is a Friday afternoon at 1:30, is White Christmas with Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye, and it's the old movie we all grew up with. And it might be a great time if your kids are home, but they're probably in school. So go to a movie without your children. You really will enjoy it. In January, they're going to show Blue Jasmine, which came out in 2014 with Alex Baldwin and Kate Blanchett. That's on January 16th. So they're trying to do movies for a while to see if this catches on, but so many women work and so many men work that they can't possibly make movies in the middle of the day. The other thing is Home Depot has asked that I make you aware that not only is there a children's workshop on the first Saturday of every month where the children make something, and workers from Home Depot help them. They help them paint the item they're making. They suggest 5 and up, but kids that are 4 have been going and they're having a great time. But Home Depot also said, let you know there's a ladies' workshop, just the women, 6:30, third Thursday of every month. And this particular one, on the coming up Thursday, they're doing a lit sign to put outside or inside your home that will say joy, have lights in it, and will be a framed thing. And I'll tell you, I've been going to these workshops for the last 10 years, and you learn all kinds of things. Christmas time, they do a craft item. So be aware, Home Depot would love to see you. I think that's it on what I had.
Anyone else?
Actually, yes. Just wondering if as a board, we could consider some way to aggressively help our principalship with 683 early pickups. I was doing some numbers here considering, and I know this is not accurate, but considering the amount of days that we've actually had school between the last time that you told us that it actually decreased up to now, we're looking at almost between 13 to 16 students per day that's leaving school early. So that means 13 to 16 students per day is missing educational time. Being here in after-school programs, I think about how when parents come and get their children at 5 o'clock instead of 6 o'clock, how everybody else goes into a frenzy. So we got 13 to 16 children that's missing educational time, and then God knows how many other students that's losing focus because of the interruption. So I don't know if this is something we could do, but while I was sitting here just throwing it out, maybe we could tie early pickups into the attendance policy just like we do tardies. So many early pickups, it becomes an absent. It shows up on the child's attendance record, their permanent record. Maybe then the parents will start to take this as serious.
That's not a bad thought.
Because parents respond to some degree when they see attendance causing your child's grade to decrease. Well, maybe early pickup should be an attendance issue of a more serious nature.
Okay. Mr. Hall, if I may, that's an interesting suggestion. I'll add it to our cabinet agenda, and we'll have some discussion about it as an administrative team. It's an insightful thought. Thank you for sharing.
I just have a question, Mr. Beeble. When we track absences and tardies, is that something that's tracked by whatever system we utilize that we get from Reese?
Yes.
The name of that system?
MyStar.
MyStar. I think, I still remember it as Zango.
It used to be Zango, and soon it will be...
I received word it's staying MyStar.
Oh!
So MyStar. But MyStar doesn't have a provision for early releases.
I don't know if we're recording that electronically or not. Particularly at the secondary level, if a student is missing, for example, his or her last class or is tardy to it, that is absolutely reflected. But the elementaries do an AM attendance and a PM attendance.
Okay, but it doesn't, there's no way to track early releases using MyStar.
Pen and paper, we parents have to sign them out. That's how we know.
So
could it be done electronically? Maybe.
The point I'm trying to make here is, I thought that your answer was going to be what it was, and I'm going to suggest that maybe this is something you need to bring up when you have your meetings at RESA.
Understood. Understood. Yeah. Some good thoughts. Let's see what we can do. I think it's a great idea.
And if anyone else has any other ideas as to how we could address this, you know, perhaps we'll put it on the workshop for discussion. And if anybody has any ideas between now and then, bring them to the workshop and we'll kick it around.
Some of us were in Lansing today, and the keynote speaker spoke about the national epidemic of tardies. This is a national issue. This is not local.
Well, you're talking tardies. That's different.
Right, absolutely. But, you know, this lack of commitment to a full day of school is, you know, it's that piece that...
And I have a question for the administrators, though. When you're talking about the early release or the pickups, is that during what would be our regular school day and not the additional time that we're...
Right. It's during our regular school day. It's not that late that we
Okay.
had last year. It's less time. You know, last year when we had, they're kind of still picking up about 2:45, as opposed to missing 50 minutes last year. There's only missing 25, but it's that executive skill that's just...
Yeah, but what I remember from elementary, a lot of times the instructors are passing out homework and things at the end, and you can't stop and pass out instructional material to one child because that parent chose to, you know, pick them up early.
Well, and then the other piece is my children are moving, my young children are moving throughout the building, getting their coats and whatnot. So I have my own policy. I don't answer the doorbell after 5 to 3. And I sometimes, I'm sure, I don't know if Mr. Peterbilt have ever gotten a call with an irate parent. I mean, they're beeping, open the door. But for safety of my children, I mean, they're moving throughout the building. I can't be having the door open and closed. My kindergarten room is right there. And so parents have kind of, that has helped. You know, so from 5 to 3 to 3:12, the door is not open. But from 3 to about 25 to, you know, and I had a parent bring their a child back from a school that would not allow early pickup. So they had taken their child away and they brought him back.
The other school didn't allow it?
Didn't allow it. It was a charter school. They have rules.
So a charter school cannot allow it, but we cannot
prevent it? We cannot prohibit it?
You know, charter schools have different rules, and now it's about customer service.
Well, and that's what I was just going to bring up, because the last time we had an in-depth conversation of this, the customer service component came up. And if this is, and I get the customer service component, but if this is the same parents all the time, then I'm going to say the heck with customer service. I mean, if that same parent, that same family is causing that disruption, I mean, it's not that we don't value people, but in some cases, we have to say, no, thank you. And wouldn't it be considered truancy? Isn't it a?
Kate, we're going to discuss this at our next workshop.
Okay.
So, and I think,
That includes parents in our conversations.
yeah. I'm just going to ask, in order to facilitate some of that discussion, based on questions that Mr. Keene has asked, I'm going to ask if you could give us some kind of a report. A breakdown, so we know how many, yes, is it the same kids? Is it just 10% of our students?
It's a lot, yeah.
Is it 10% of our students that are the offenders and the other 90% are fine? Work
Yeah,
the-
I'll bring that to you.
Okay.
I'll have that ready for you, absolutely.
Okay, anything else?
Just a couple things. Welcome, ladies, new board members. Look forward to working together to service our families and students here in the district. And I wanted to say congratulations to our volleyball team as well. While unfortunately, due to reality television, amongst other things, it is very common to see teenagers, young women in particular, tear each other down. And this small group of ladies, I see, has been taught to lift each other up. So kudos to them and their coaches with that.
Okay, and I had just a couple of quick comments about maturity level of our students. Over the couple of years that I've been in and out of this building for whatever, I have to come here for, I've seen the maturity level of our students definitely increase, like the young men, and especially at the door, because you have students sitting at the door, and, a couple of years ago I would come in and no one opens the door. They know the door is locked and you have to bang on it, and they're sitting right there. But, I notice now that, not only do they open the door, they speak to you in a respectful way, so the maturity level has definitely increased, okay?
Right.
And it's very noticeable. And the other comment was on the volleyball team, not just on how well they've done, but the fact that they are scholar-first athletes, okay? Because I know, sometimes we get carried away with how great of an athlete that students are. We forget that they also need to be and must be and should be scholars first and athletes second. So that was very impressive, those grade point averages.
Anyone else? I too would like to again congratulate our volleyball students, our volleyball team. Great work. We'd like to welcome again our 3 new elects, trustee elects. They've sat through this whole meeting and they're probably rethinking their decisions. But I've noticed they're listening very attentively, taking notes, paying very close attention to what's going on, which is really a good thing to see. One other thing, there is one other, and I'll call it a policy that we have that was instituted many years ago, which also has never been reduced to writing. And I'm going to suggest that maybe it should be. And I know this is one that Mr. Beerwolf at first was not comfortable with, I don't think, but I think he's grown to become comfortable with it. And that's the policy that the board adopted, that all overnight travel by students or staff be approved. It requires prior approval by the board. It's nowhere in our policy, but it was passed by the board. It was approved by the board, but it's never been reduced to writing. I don't know how the other members feel about it, but I think that it's something that probably needs to be reduced to writing as well.
Yep. It shows accountability.
And I know sometimes it becomes a little bit of a pain for the staff when they have to do that, but I think it's worked out. There have been some rough spots, but I think we've gotten past that. I don't know. Anybody, everybody good with that? Okay. Well, I'll talk to Mr. Beerwolf. We'll see what we can develop.
Fine.
Okay, that's it. Don't believe there's anything else. We are adjourned. The time is 8:35.